Hello, hello, hello. All right, so we're testing out a new mic tonight. I know it's late. Usually I wouldn't come on this late, but I honestly didn't get a lot of work done earlier today because I was researching new mics. It's something that I've been thinking of that I actually need to get for a little while. And so I kind of had a good idea of what I was going to get, and then I figured out that that's not actually what I wanted. I wanted something a little bit different, and it turned out that it was on sale. So I decided that it was time to update. So the kiddos and I picked them up from their childcare, and then we went into the city and I picked it up. So that's where most of my day went. I also went for my run, like I'm supposed to on Wednesdays. And what's the other thing that's supposed to happen on Wednesdays? Oh, I went to physio today as well for my foot. So yes, I'm running a lot, but I've also given myself or I am experiencing plantar fasciitis in my left foot, of course, because it just never ends. But I'm with a physio that we're working on that, so we're hoping in the next couple weeks that'll improve enough that I'll be able to wean down on my actual the amount that I see him. It was a really good session today. I think it actually did end up working a lot of it out. He did say that, I think they're calling it plantar fasciomyopathy now or something. I don't know. Anyway, plantar fasciitis. So the tendon in the bottom of my foot is really, 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 really tightened up. So I run. I was in such a bad mood this morning, just not in a good headspace. So it took me a really long time to get myself up for my run, and then it took me then I was researching microphones, then I went to physio, and then I continued to research microphones because of course once I decided I needed to find the cheapest price I could. It was really awesome. I bought it from Long and McQuaid, but they did price match Amazon, which I very much appreciate because now I can test it out tonight, and then we'll see what I get to tomorrow. Now, the one disadvantage right now is I do not have my laptop down here, so I cannot see the live chat. But if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them in, I guess. Yeah, I just realized that is actually a massive flaw in this current streaming plan. But it's 11 o'clock Mountain Time here. I doubt that a lot of people are going to be online right now. So this is mostly just to test this out. Need a second stitch. Oh, I see what the drawback is to this style. Now there's a floopy floppy edge there. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back in and do a second line of top stitching on these bags. Anyway, I did get about an hour's worth of work done earlier today. I sat down and I got all of these guys mostly done. Obviously now with this new style, depending on how far it's folded over, it might need another top stitch line, so we'll go through and we'll do that. And then the other section that I want to get to is I want to get the tags sewn into the bottom of the bag so that they're finished. So their tags will go care tags along with the fiber information go in the bottom of the bag, and that's their closing seam as well. Could I sew those tags into the bag as I'm finishing it? 100%. Will I? Probably not, because I'll forget. Tags are one of the last steps that I ever do, so that's why I'm I will probably forget, because it's just it is the finishing seam. And since the finishing seam still has to happen, it really doesn't matter if I put the tag in there or not. So tag has to go somewhere. So hopefully the sound on this is better. I know that I had that lav mic and it worked really well for a really long time, or at least for how long I used it. And I might sell them on now. I don't need two lav mics sitting around. But I did notice that the sound on it was particularly tinny. They were a cheap option so that I could get myself back into recording. So I'm hoping that this mic sounds better. It fulfills the functions that I need it to right now. There is another version of this mic on the market right now, which is why I was able to get this one on such a good sale probably. But listening to the differences between the two of them, I'm perfectly happy with this one because apparently the big difference between the two is like outdoor recording. So if I'm going to actually go do lives in Japan, I'll probably pick up the second one, but for now this one's good enough. The one that I do have is the Sennheiser. It's an MKE 200, and the replacement one that they're bringing out right now is the MKE 400. And when I listened to a different comparison of the two, the MKE 400 definitely did sound better. But that's because it's a powered mic, so of course it's going to sound better. Anyway, I sound like I'm an expert, and it's just like, that's just what I heard in the YouTube video, is like, it'll sound better because it's a powered mic, which, okay, I'll take it. I just realized I don't want to sit all these bags on my lap because A, you can't probably see them. I don't actually know how much of my desk you can actually see. Probably not a lot of what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just trimming up chain piece, all of my pieces. So I'm just trimming up the handles from each other so that I can actually get these finished. Alright. I'm just setting aside the ones that need to be have more done to them. That one's done, so I can go over there. And what I mean by more done to them is so I was doing a different style, and this was easier to sew the seam on. But now it needs to be tacked down so that you don't have this flopping around on your wrist, which to me would be extremely annoying. So we're going to pull all those. I realized why I was sewing them the way I was sewing them, and I will rectify my ways on the blacktop stitching ones. Otherwise, so this one is fine. There's no flippy floppy edge there, so no flippy floppy edge there either. And what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm just clipping. So what chain piecing is you go through and you just back to back sew stuff together. It saves thread, it saves time. Well, mostly it saves thread because this is a long piece, and that's actually fairly short for pulling thread out of your machine to get a piece out of the machine. The knot bags are a little bit more difficult to do the top stitching on in this fashion because the handles just don't really allow it. And yes, I do have little itty bitty ends left there, and what I'm going to be doing is I'll take a lighter to them and just kind of set the thread ends in with the stitch line. This is such a good fabric. Love it. These cranes with fans. I can definitely hear myself powering down, so I'm not going to be on stream very long tonight. I've got stuff to do tomorrow. Obviously, I've got a lot of sewing to do. I am behind, and given that I could not get my butt to work last night or this morning, I am even more behind than I should have been today. So am I upset with myself? A little bit. Am I accepting of the fact that I am also tired and worn out? Also valid. I think I needed that little bit of rest, and now I can come back even more productive than I was before. I do have to take advantage of this week because my eldest is in, this is the last week of summer camp for them, and the last week of extra care for my youngest in day home for their care. That one goes back down to Monday and Friday in September, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. My husband suggested that I bring down one of their high chairs so I can strap them down here so they can watch TV and stuff, and I think that might be the most valid option I have. TV daycare. And that's fine in limited amounts, that's for sure. Quality Control Inspector Flynn is on duty right now. That may or may not rotate throughout this hour, because I will have to keep an eye on the time. Did pack kiddo's lunch before I came downstairs, because I knew that if I didn't, I would be absolutely hooped in the morning. Last week I did, a a couple weeks ago, I did do last minute like breakfast or lunch pack in the morning. I'm just like, no, that's not. It wasn't fun. I had an absolute meltdown trying to go out on their bikes tonight though, because they'd been like, I want my bike, I want my bike, I want my bike. While I was running into the city for this microphone. I'm like, okay, that's good. We can go use your bike when we get home. Blah blah blah. Not a big deal. Eldest fell asleep on the way home, which no big surprise. They don't nap, but post preschool is always a nap. Blah blah blah. Anyway, they got on their bikes for a grand total of 4 minutes. Excuse me. The eldest wanted to go down the hill. That's fine. Go down the hill. It's easier. To start with, youngest was following. They were doing really good actually, because most of the summer they just have little strider bikes. They don't have pedal bikes. Anyway, they've been like dropping the bike and going, oh no, it's stuck. Which is not, obviously it's a bike. It's not gonna get stuck in the ground. But anyway, they hadn't done that all this ride. But then my eldest got really far ahead and my youngest was like, nope, I want to go uphill. And I'm like, okay, eldest. Excuse me, that must be lack of talking. I called my eldest up and yeah, they came up and they were fine with it. And let's go up the hill. They really wanted to go up the hill. Pretty sure they were thinking that if we went up the hill, there'd be a playground because there is a playground up the hill. Anyway, we did not get that far. Eldest ran a tire into youngest's because youngest was sitting on the sidewalk, refusing to move, about 2 houses down from us. And eldest bumped tires because they thought that they were moving or they would get moving when they saw them coming, sort of thing. That did not happen. Instead, the youngest had an absolute meltdown. I had to pick them up, set them in the driveway. They were like lay on their back, flat out tantruming. And I was like, okay, well, we're not going to go for a longer bike ride at this point because that's just going to end in even more disaster than this night is ending right now. And so I went and got the eldest and carried them up to the driveway towards the garage, opened the garage so that they could go in, and then they were having a tantrum on their bike because they didn't want to get off their bike, and then brought the youngest in and they were flat out tantrum on the garage floor. Got the garage closed, but all our neighbors, if they didn't know before, definitely know now, that they were displeased tonight. Just like I don't know. I got told that my youngest had a really good day at day home today, and so it's just like, what happened tonight? Oh well, that's okay. It's gonna happen. Just kind of sad because we didn't want to get the youngest out on their bike more, and it has not been in the cards yet. So here's hoping for a mild like October so that we can go out and do some outdoor activities. With Knit City coming up, it's just like, it's tough. I'm hoping that what I'm gonna plan to try and do over this winter is like prep as much as I can over the winter, which is also tough because it's like I never expected to be this busy this year, and I very much appreciate it. But it's also like I had no stock to start with, and then we started like just rolling right out of the gates in January. So excellent problem to have, but it does mean that this winter I need to really buckle down and get my work done, so I'm not spending all summer at the sewing machine next year, because that's not what I want to do next summer. It'll also help if I'm not training for a marathon next summer too, so I'm actually very much looking forward to not being on quite so intensive of a running like training program. I think the max I'll train to for most of the time will be a half. If that. It might be 10K. Who knows? Alright. So that is the finishing seam on guinea pigs. I will be taking these in and steam pressing them just before Knit City probably. Super cute. Just to kind of get, or an iron, just to get this edge nice. But it's done. It's cute. We'll take it. Alright, those just need tags. These need that extra line of top stitching because I screwed up earlier. It's actually easy to sew it this time though, which is weird because it's like I was fighting so hard to get over these seams earlier today. Probably a good indication that like I shouldn't have been sewing anyway, so we'll take it as that. But I can definitely feel myself fading. So I think what we'll do tonight is we'll go through and we'll finish all these white top stitch bags. And then I will do the black stitching tomorrow and start on at least the zipper matching for Paula's order with the large box bags. No, we're going to cut the linings for large box bags and we're going to sit down and we're going to do all the large box bags at once so that I'm done. Yes. And then we'll do your triangle pouches, which will be quick. And some of my triangle pouches. And then we'll do Kato bags. Why I'm leaving Kato to the end, I think I just have some dread about it. It's a lot of pockets to sew, y'all. Which means I should start on them first, but that's the thing is I get bogged down in it and then I won't get any large box bags done either. Why am I focusing on not bags? Because that's where my mental space is right now. Just where, like, it's just like finish something. I do have some special stuff coming to the city, new things that are not bag related and that I haven't announced on anywhere yet, actually. So we'll keep an eye out. I will announce that on Instagram before the event. But I am excited. I also don't want to say too much about it just in case it doesn't happen. I still have new things, new fun things, but yeah, I want to make sure that I get some of it produced before being like, hey, and all gung-ho into it. So, but it'll be a nice break from bag sewing, hopefully. But I have to get all this, all the grime guards and cake cozies done because my friend's gonna come and help with them this weekend. So that's too small. Thing, yeah. So now there won't be. I'm sorry, I should have showed this earlier, but I can show it now. So now instead of having like this flippy floppy here, this little flap, it's tacked down. It's not super tacked down in this case apparently, but it won't be as like irritating. Also, it's not as big a deal on the short side because the long side's the one that you need it tacked down on better because that's what your hand goes through to hold the bag. Let's see, let's do that. Good reminder to just do the seam where it should be placed normally. Instead of trying to cheat the system. Oh well, worth a try. And realistically, having to do these top stitch lines is not that big a deal. Besides the fact that I want to be doing the the top stitching. So tomorrow, actually, what I'll do is I will clip all of the grime guards before I come on camera and the cake cozies, just because that feels like kind of boring to watch, and honestly I would really like to listen to my audiobook while I'm doing that. So that's what we're going to do there, and then I will come on when it is time to sew. Now the black thread bags will not be anywhere near as labor intensive. They are literally down to finishing the handles and popping the tags in. Why I didn't finish them earlier in the year, who knows? Current Katie is questioning past Katie's decisions. But that's okay. At least they're almost done. So actually, yeah, I'll finish these tonight, and then we'll definitely move into doing the black stitching bags. Grime guards and cake cozies. But if I do the clipping off camera, I'll be faster, and I will also be able to listen to my audiobook while I do it instead of getting distracted by talking into the camera or into the mic at least. So Alright, these are coming together super quick. I love it. Even for having to throw an extra seam in there, that's doing really well. Which is good because it's 11:30 and I figure I'll be on for about an hour. Don't want to be up much past midnight tonight. I gotta be up to get kiddos to childcare tomorrow, and I've got spin class in the morning. So I want to be more energetic than I am some days when I'm up way too late. Not that midnight is very on my spectrum of late, that's pretty early. But at the end of the day, I'm dragged on my energy. So I just remembered that these bees and strawberries are some sort of cotton linen blend, so I'm going to set them aside for their tag for tomorrow. So that'll be the last thing we sew tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, whenever I get to the sewing machine. Actually, I should do some packaging tomorrow as well, because I've got stuff that can go out now. And then, yeah. Alright, cats are back in town. Just gonna kind of shove it through, because why not? All I can think about right now is that this is the week last year when the kids and I had COVID. And it was another disastrous bike ride, actually, now that I think about it. So, husband went to work. Normal. We just gotten back from a trip to Victoria. We'd stayed at a hotel with a included breakfast, but a tiny breakfast room. Like, definitely no social distancing there. And we're pretty sure that's where the kids and I caught it. We're not 100% sure, but that's like the assumption. Anyway, because I was on the Saturday, and then the kids and I developed symptoms by, well, my eldest developed symptoms by Tuesday night, because we went out for a bike ride that they'd been super excited about, and then they got super whiny and just refused. This was abnormal. So we came home, chilled out. Next morning, had a fever. They had a fever. I was feeling like crap. We did tests, and yeah, by Thursday morning, we knew that myself and my eldest were definitely COVID positive. And then my youngest, we assumed. I never tested them, but it was safe assumption. The fever was really bad for them. Now, thankfully, I was triple vaxxed, and the kiddos had gotten their first dose at least. I think like almost exactly 2 weeks before we got infected, so couldn't have had better timing there. But yeah, that was a rough week, because of course I was solo parenting 2 very sick kiddos. Although once they got over the fever, they both perked up significantly, so that's good. Didn't end up leading to pneumonia in October, though. That was not fun for both of them, and not fun for me either. So anyway, that was a week from hell last August. That's where we'll leave it at. Alright, so this one's titled Cats Are Back in Town. I love this cat and this one. This one. They're all adorable. Sexy chicken leg. That guy's actually placed really well on that handle. Alright, yeah, it does feel like we're gonna just end up getting to do all of these tonight, and then it'll be bedtime. Starting to get to the point where it's like definitely early fall. I know it's only the end of August, but it's like done that switch. I don't know what happens, but like you pass that mid-August point, and even if the days are hot, the mornings are not. This is always the toughest time of year to dress for like school. It's that first few weeks in September when it's like you had to have a jacket for the morning, but then by the afternoon it's like you're baking because you're also in a sweater for the morning, and you definitely needed neither a sweater nor a jacket. I actually just had an opportunity to go walk around on the campus the other day with a friend that studied there with me and her husband and the kids. I gotta tell you, some of those doorways were super hard to get through with the double stroller. Which it's like, if my double stroller doesn't fit through, what wheelchairs don't? It's so annoying. The accessibility with like the stroller highlights so many accessibility difficulties that I would not normally have highlighted for me, which is definitely a privilege that I haven't had to worry about too much. I was like, I broke my ankle. I had difficulties then, but like not in the same way. Yes, that did make things harder to access, but it's not like I was wheelchair bound and not able to fit through doorways. So, anyway, we walked around on the campus, and yeah, it was just like astonishing how gorgeous the campus is this time of year still. I always forget that it's so pretty in September, because realistically, you're in class. So you get September, which is nice, and then October, which can be decent up until about mid-October, and then usually November just goes to crap. And then you end up with like just a winter snowscape. And the campus is white and icy and all of that. So walking around in like at the campus in August and brought back that early September vibe. I'm like, right, this campus is actually really gorgeous when it's green. But since classes run September to April, end of April, I don't typically end up seeing a lot of that green. At least not for very long. I still distinctly remember, so the end of university like party for U of C is called Bermuda Shorts Day. So you're supposed to wear Bermuda shorts. It's massive, just like drunk fest, because it's typically on the last day of classes, right before exams start, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, every time I was there as a student, it was snowing. So I was typically working at the university theater. It was dance competition season, which, let me say, it's the dumbest time to have a dance competition, because this extended past Bermuda Shorts Day, obviously, for like the week following in exams, which is fine if you're working, but if you're writing an exam, is not. We had to chase so many dance girls and parents out of like the halls that students were writing exams in. It was so dumb, because of course the university theater backs onto the to Craigie Hall, where there's a lot of like languages and language classes, and so yeah, it was always like a reminder to stay quiet because students are taking exams, blah blah blah. What a wild time. And now I do this. Rain or shine, tunnel or funnel cloud warnings or no, because that was the other fun thing, is we had a funnel cloud warning today. It was like, it's unlikely to touch down if you see one, but it could. So, because we've basically gone from like mid-teens to like, I think this week we're supposed to go back up into the 30s. Dallas was like, we should put the top back on the Jeep, but I'm like, let's wait another week, mostly because I was tired. So on Monday I ran an 11-mile run as part of the training for the Dopey Challenge in January at Walt Disney World Resort. Anyway, words. So he's like, we should put the top back on. I'm like, let's do it next week, because honestly I am too tired to even think about putting the Jeep top back on, because it's a two-person job. No matter what you do, you need two people. And anyway, now we're getting some good weather, and I'm really glad that we're not putting the top back on the Jeep, because I like it's chilly to drive it in the mornings, but that is honestly my favorite time, when it's this crisp outside. It's very invigorating. dress the kids up proper in like a hoodie and pants and all of that, and they're good. For me, it's really nice. I love it. Alright. We're actually making excellent progress on this. Bet you that B is 85.15, but I will double check that before I put a tag into it. The breakfast. Yeah, and then so what I'll do is I'll iron it just to get it nice, because this is processed briefly. Just a heads up, if you join me later on, I cannot see the live chat because I currently am streaming this live off my phone. If there's any questions in the chat tonight, though, I will post them or answer them in the live tomorrow that I'm going to be doing. Tomorrow I intend to be online at 12:30 Mountain Time. Between 12:30 and 1 Mountain Time. Best way to find that out is actually Instagram. I don't typically send this information out in my newsletter because it's like I just cannot reliably like plan it typically. I need to schedule some more streams while Dallas is home, because then I could send out a like, hey, come watch me sew and chat sort of thing, but oh well, I'll do it. It'll happen. It'll happen sometime over the winter probably when we're all hunkering down because it's cold outside. That's okay. I will take the cold. Actually, that is a good reminder. I need to get a little space heater for this basement because I do not want to heat up the whole upper part of the house to only have like an infinitesimal temperature rise down in the basement. And this basement, so it's a walkout basement, so it gets very cold. Now, in the wintertime, I will, depending on how cold it is, I will leave the blinds closed in the morning when there's not a lot of sun, and then open them up in the afternoon to try and capture as much sun in the house as I can. But this basement was frigid last year, like to the point where it's like I wish I could wear mittens while I was sewing, sort of cold. My nose went red. I was wearing a toque in my house, which like I don't keep our house very warm in the winter. Like it's below room temperature or whatever, because I think room temperature is supposed to be 72. I usually keep our house around 68. I don't even know what that is in like Celsius because our thermostat's all messed up right now. I think it's like 17. Anyway, I like it around 17 degrees. Means that it doesn't get too cold. Doesn't mean that you have to bundle up. But we don't typically have to wear toques in our houses either. Or in our house. So the fact that I had to wear one downstairs, I was like, no, I don't want to wear a toque in the house. Granted, I probably should. It would save us some energy. It's also with like the kids, I don't want to make the house too cold either, because they're too little. Now we do throw a bunch of like extra blankets on their bed in the winter, same as us. I actually just took our winter blanket off because I'm like, oh, that's why I've been so hot all summer. It's like, what am I doing? But I kind of follow the same principle on the flip side of it with the like AC. Like right now, again, if you take room temperature 72 Fahrenheit, we're set at like 74. And granted, I do go up and down from that some days because for some reason, some days when they're hotter, the house just feels hotter, even if the thermostat is saying that it's not. So like occasionally I'll drop it down to like 72 or 73. And then turn it back up once it's like more, I think it's mostly just air turnover. So once it's more temperate, I turn it back up to 74. Don't want to go much above that temperature though, because then it becomes that whole losing battle of like adjusting the temperature out in the rest of the house. And again, the problem being that like our bedroom faces the west, and it's on those really hot days, you have to be really careful with the like blind rotation to make sure that you're not absorbing too much heat into the bedroom. our youngest's window doesn't even get any sun, so that's kind of nice because that means that room stays pleasant for most of the day. But my eldest's also has like a northwest facing window, so they get a lot of sun on their window as well. Alright. Did I put a tag in this one? I can't even remember. Yes. Yeah, it tells me that we'll finish these up and then I'm gonna go to bed. I'll listen back to this before going to bed, or at least a little bit, and compare it to the other mic and see if this whole shenaniganry was worth it or not. Compared to, or listening to what I listened to online, it should be worth it. But you never know. Who knows? Maybe the lav mic wasn't as bad as I remember it. I'm pretty sure it was. Tomorrow I'll be back to dual cam as well, so I'll have the phone over top of the desk setup, and then I will have the laptop set up with like the face view or whatever I decide to do. So I do like the fact, so this whole kit came with like a nice little tripod and the mount for the actual mic, which is a really nice phone mount. So I'm gonna have to try and like set up my ring light and stuff like that with the new I'll have to set my ring light with the new like phone mount, because it can be screwed onto other tripod mounts, obviously. I think this tripod will also be good because it's like it can make it a little handheld device, so I'll be able to carry it with me. I think this is what I'll carry with me into that place, Nomura in Kyoto, at least if they let me live stream. Even if they don't, I'm pretty sure they'll still let me film, and so it'll just be easier to manage than like the harness. I think the harness is still the best way to do Tomato, but we'll see. I don't know, I'll carry both. It's not like a little tripod adds that much weight. So, alright, there we go. Fixed. Although, I think I need to do a little bit more back stitching right here. Yeah, I'll do a couple more stitches just to blend those stitch lines in so it's not unraveling this direction. It's fine going over the tag, but I need to make sure that I lock in the rest of the stitching. I have not tidied up that scrap pile yet. That's something I probably should have done today when I didn't have any motivation. Oh well, I didn't. I researched microphones instead. It's like that productive procrastination, right? Of like, I know I should do something different, but that's not what's gonna happen. But the other thing I'm doing is also productive, right? This one is adorable. Adorable. Cookie cats. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. And I think this is the last one that needs the extra line of top stitching. So after this, it should just be tags. And that's why I skipped. I think what I need to do is maybe make myself a hump jumper. And that might, actually do that with this one. So what can happen is that when there's like a lot of fabric under a needle, it does not like bridging the gap, basically, and I think that's what's happening here. So I think what I can do is I can actually take the ruler, this ruler, pop it underneath, just not even like on the feed dogs, just to lift the presser foot if it lets me. There we go. Behind the needle, don't damage your rulers. And I think that should work. See, now it's in line or a little bit higher. Oh, look at that. Okay, so I don't want to use my ruler like that constantly. My precious 1x6. But I will make myself one out of like cardboard or something like that then, because that will help significantly, obviously. down again. Then we'll get the tag in, and then we will move on to the pile of just tags. I'll double check all of them as I go, just make sure that I didn't screw something up, or not screw up really, but just put one in a pile that of like, this doesn't need double top stitching, and then it turns out that needs double top stitching, which right now is just easier to process than me getting to like Knit City and being like, oh, I didn't do it. Now I don't have that stock. I have done that. Last year it was a Sassy Cat bag, one of the Luxe tote bags with the nice leather handles, and I had twisted the leather strap when I was inserting the rivets. I was very annoyed. So annoyed that, in fact, I didn't snip the rivets until like last week or 2 weeks ago. But I did it. I got them snipped and I got the handle turned around, so it'll be coming with me to Vancouver this time. All nice and finished. I can even see it from where I'm sitting right now. It's hanging out on my shelf, just waiting for its debut. Cats are back in town on a dusty rose. Alright. And most of the time I catch it. Not always. I have had people come up and be like, hey, like, the seam inside the bag isn't finished. It's like, oh crap. Like, the closing seam isn't finished. It's like, ah. And sometimes, so I typically try and catch it, obviously, while I'm at home, so I'm at my sewing machine. Sometimes I catch it when we're putting stock out. A lot of times the customers come up and be like, there is a seam missing. So we typically sort something out and get it figured out later on. But it is true. All of these are handmade products, so you never know what you're going to find exactly like that. We're going to do a second line of top stitch in there because the first one didn't catch the back layer. There we go. 2 lines of closing for the price of 1. So that's that gorgeous Vans fabric on like the bubblegum pink. Like Hubba Bubba double bubble pink. Double bubble pink. That's what I determined it was last week, was double bubble pink. Just realized the drawback to not having the lav mic is the fact that this is directional. It's fairly good apparently about picking up all around, but I gotta remember not to talk when I'm facing away from the actual microphone. I have to more or less talk to the microphone. I actually wonder if it would work better if I sat it like over here. Let's move it and I will see how the sound changes. So I moved that at about 46 minutes in. Because then like I am looking directly at the microphone. It's not that far away. It's like less than a meter away. Blah, blah, blah. It should be fine. It should actually be better there because then I'm projecting to the microphone instead of kind of having it off to the side here where it's like I'm not talking because I'm not looking there. I'm looking at my sewing machine. Actually, that would be kind of fun, is put the camera right behind the machine to look at me and then have the laptop on the side watching the actual sewing project progress. That could be fun. We'll play around with some stuff over the next month as I prep for Knit City, because honestly, if I'm streaming as much as I am, we'll probably all get bored with my setup. I know I would. That's why I'm suggesting a change even before I've figured out if this mic is worth it or not. Right now my phone is like in a gooseneck sort of thing and overlooking the desk. So obviously if I put the phone facing me, that's not going to do the flat lay stuff here, but the flat lay stuff really only works when I actually have the laptop running so that I can make sure that you can see the flat lay work, or angled flat lay, I guess. Okay, we're just about there. We're down to 3 or 4 bags, which is good because I am powering down. very rapidly. Also, I am intensely curious because our neighbor 2 doors up received a parcel today with a magnifying lamp in 8 pieces. Not 8 shipped crates. And they're crates. They are very heavily constructed crates. There we go. And I'm wondering if they got an embroidery machine. Like, what do you get that has a magnifying lamp otherwise? Did they get an embroidery machine? Do I have an embroiderer just up the street from me? That'd be super cool. Wouldn't it be fun to like be able to personalize some of these? I guess I could do that with the vinyl right now, but it's not the same as embroidery. I don't know. Well, if I see them out in the next little bit, I'm totally gonna be that creeper who's like, "Did you get an embroidery machine?" I'm intensely curious. I do hope that they got it moved in though, because I think it got delivered during our rain, and it's been sitting on their driveway all day. Now, not that I think that anyone's gonna be able to manhandle it out of their driveway, but I'm like, I hope you got it into the garage. I hope you were just prepping the space for it. Because it's really weird that something like of that nature, even like obviously even if it's not an embroidery machine, but something with like 8 pieces crated up. Like, this is huge. It took up like a car space on the driveway. Anyway, it would be weird if that got delivered without a signature. So they must have known that they received it. But I don't like anything in crates like that. You can't move realistically by yourself, I don't think. Wonder who delivered it. That's the other curious thing. I know when I ordered the Juki, so I got it delivered so that we didn't have to load it in the truck post Knit City because there was no way to fit it. Anyway, they actually only freighted it to Calgary, so we had to go pick it up in Calgary at a like freight depot basically, and I think it was in the Northeast. Which is fine, kind of annoying, but fine. Oh, did I already do the tag in this? No, it's just a really small opening. Oh, I hope that's big enough. Holy. Okay, Katie. Note to self, leave larger turning holes. Because you need to still put a tag in it. Okay. There we go. This one's got a fairly fine seam allowance, so we gotta make sure that we catch both. And on the seam allowance too. All the layers in the seam allowances. That should be good there. Oh yeah, that's good. Like that. Alright, and then we got 2 more. And I am going to head to bed for an hopefully excellent sleep. I'm going to open my window for some fresh air, which always makes me sleep better. Also, sorry, I should show this one off because this one is adorable. So this is like micro dogs, so cute. There's little Bichons, there's little, I think they're probably Boston Terriers. I always call them French Bulldogs because that's what they look like to me. Little Shiba, super cute. I just realized, I hope you can't see the mic line. Oh yeah, it is totally right in the middle. Okay, so let's pull that up and over. There we go. Now you can't see the mic line, I don't think. Oh, you can see it a little bit on that side. Come here, my pretty. You'll be able to see the microphone base and everything. That's okay. As long as it's not cutting through like the main field of vision, that's fine. Alright, 2 more. 2 more and it's bedtime. We can do it. And yeah, by midnight. I said I'd be an hour, so that's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to pop that under there, and then I'm going to throw the tag in. Sometimes I do this because then the like presser foot actually holds down the seam allowance, and then I don't have to hold it down myself or clip it. Down with the devices that hold it together, besides my presser foot. I'm talking about pins and clips. They have their uses. I obviously use them, but if I don't have to, I won't. Alright. There we go. That's that citrus fruit on pink, and it's a Dobby, so it's got this the slubby warp and weft. Obviously I need to oh yeah, there's cat love on this one, so I'm gonna have to take a lint roller to this one. Whoops. Oh well. Quality control inspector approved. That's how you know. The ones that have like the most cat hair on them. I don't know, some fabrics just seem to, well, if you're a pet owner, you know this is, it's like some fabrics just attract pet hair like nobody's business. All right, last one here. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you can give it a like, or if you're new to the channel, a subscription to the channel, or if you're really feeling feisty, share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it as well. This week's schedule for streams is I should be online between 12:30 and 1 every day of the week. Well, tomorrow on Friday, so Thursday and Friday, and then again on Monday, and then I'll also be back on in the evenings. I'll try to be earlier than I was tonight. I need to get back on my roll to like actually get online. So, and just downstairs to sew in general, to be honest. But that is the white thread top stitch knot bags done. So tomorrow we'll work on the black thread crime guards, cake cozies, and knot bags. Those knot bags are like this close to being done. They just need, like, literally they need their handles stitched and then that logo tag inserted into them. So yeah, I hope you guys all have a fantastic night, and I will chat with you all tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me, and yeah, see you later. Oh, hey Andrea, if you're still here, I am listening currently to, here, let me see if I can turn the camera around on this one. Hi, there we go. I am currently listening to the Maggie Stiefvater, the Dreamer trilogy, which is a follow-up to her, the Raven Boys Quartet, and it is absolutely spectacular. I love it. She's got a really good voice. I really like the fact that the Raven Boys trilogy was a quest story with like a really interesting set of characters and atypical male characters, which I think for a YA series is extremely important. And then the Dreamer trilogy is taking place in obviously post Raven Boys, and following up with one of the characters from the Raven Boy Quartet. What was I going to say about it? Oh, and it's just been more recently published as well. So, like, I think the last book in the trilogy came out in November of 2022, actually. So, like, it's been very recently finished. So, I hope that answered your question. I will be back over the next few days, and I hope this didn't actually turn it upside down. My preview of it shows that I am, like, proper. But, you know, we'll see. I hope that the mic worked out well. Like I said, I will actually listen back to this because I don't do that very often. And yeah, she's really good. I would recommend it. And again, it's YA, but it's like a really good kind of new adult YA without being like super explicit either. Well, I guess there would be like a little bit of maybe like gore in some ways. It is dealing with like dreams and nightmares, but it's not like sexually explicit. That's what I was going to say. So yeah, but I hope you can join me tomorrow when I'm a little bit more coherent. And if not, tomorrow night when I'm on a little bit earlier. So good night, and I'll chat with you soon. Bye. If I can figure out how to turn off the recording. Oh.